Here's Leslie, who is going to host today. And um, we have a big thing coming up next week for everybody that she might share a little bit about later. We're working on something together for the community, and it's going to be awesome, and you're all going to love it. People have been getting on a little bit slower than usual, so give them a few
Oh
minutes.
no, they're all in the waiting room.
Oh,
Didn't know I was controlling that. There we
yeah,
go.
that's
There you
you.
go.
This
I'm
is
going
fancy.
to, I'll listen
Ari's in
in as long
twice.
as I can, but you go ahead, Leslie, and you run it. And I'll probably pop out because I've got to leave where I'm at and go home for a bit. So it's good to see you all. Thank you for hopping on and have fun. Thank you for coming, Jeannie.
All right, thanks, Mary. Hello, everyone. I'm just kidding. I don't.
Hello, Leslie.
Oh, she asked me to do this about 5 minutes ago, so I'm here. I'm in a good mood, so that's good. Today we have something on the docket. I think Jeannie's going to tell us a little bit about what she's going to chat about. So I know, how long is your chat for, you think?
However long people want to talk about it. I have some things to share and ideas, and I'd love to get other people's ideas of how to engage with PR in your company and in your customer's company.
Yes, that's a good one. Okay, before we get started, is there anyone who wants to share a win or anything like that?
I had my win before everybody got on, but yeah. I got my carousel. So we're going to have our carousel of YTIs show up on our case studies page, which is, it's video instead of written case studies, which is what most of our stuff is. It's just a short, well, kind of short, mostly short video where the customer just says why they bought us and why they use us and why they like us.
What does YTI stand for?
Oh, WHY, why?
Oh,
Thought Industries, TI.
Okay. Good.
Yeah, it's not why. It, like, you know, it's actually why, WHY.
Yes.
TI.
Gotcha. I love when things get approved that are my idea. It's like such a great feeling. I remember I had that when I was like, oh, let's do the customer examples versus, you know, baked out customer stories, but you still want to know about like what people are doing in your platform. So anyway, yeah. Anyone else have any wins for the week? A burning question for the community that doesn't take a whole lot of time? No. Okay. Well, think of them and then we'll come back at the end and we'll open it up. So Jeannie, let's roll. Ask your burning question.
I see you, Lauren. I see you, everybody.
Hello.
So good to.
You're doing so much traveling, Jeannie. I'm jealous.
Oh, yeah, it's been a lot, and I'm on the road again next week. So for those of you who don't know me, I'm Jeanne Talbot, and I started about 100 days ago at a company called Motive. And we did not have a customer marketing function at all previously. So the last 100 days have been quite a whirlwind, and I've been doing a ton of traveling to customers. So little over 10,000 miles in those days. I've met over 50 customers virtually and in person over that time. And we've been filming very high-end videos for an IPO that we're expecting next year. So a lot of this content will be, you know, used for the IPO video, which is really exciting. But one of the things I'm pretty passionate about, because my career started in PR. My degree is, did I say degree? No, my career started in PR. My degree is in journalism. So I'm kind of a reporter by heart. And starting in PR, and people ask me, how did you end up in customer marketing? Well, it's somewhat of some of you have heard this story, and I'm pretty candid about it. I was running PR for Lexmark, living in Kentucky, working for the general manager of our B2B division, and the bottom fell out of my marriage. And I called him and I said, Bruce, I'm going home to Massachusetts. And I thought I was resigning in that moment. And he said, call me when you get there. And that was 2004. So there was no such thing as remote work at all. And so, up until that point, my career had always been PR. And after I got there back to Massachusetts, which is home for me, I couldn't do that same role anymore. It wasn't working. That he was there. I needed to be kind of his right hand. And he said, Jeannie, what do you want to do? And I said, I'll tell you what the business needs. We're a Fortune 500 company. We're selling to massive enterprises, and we have no customer reference program at the time. These programs didn't exist back then. And because in the PR world, we kept needing customers to talk to reporters and analysts, and we had none. And so he said, go build it. And so that's where the work that my career now came from, is this gaping hole in having customers available for PR. Oh, I see a star from Ari. Thank you. That's not a star. What is that? It's definitely a Friday, isn't it? That's a heart. Love you too, man. So a lot of times I come at customer marketing with a PR hat on, and I think about what's the story, right? That's what PR people are doing all the time. What's the story? So a successful strategy that I've had over the years, twofold. One is partnering with my own PR organization, and sometimes that's been myself, but the PR people in my company, but also with the PR people within our customer organizations. Some of us try to avoid those people, oh, they're going to be gatekeepers, they're going to make approvals really hard. Make them your friends. Let me start with that. It will serve you well. So I wanted to share just a couple of things that have worked for me, and then just have a conversation with the group about whether or not you all have tried some of these things and if you've had success with them. The first thing I would say is make friends with your own PR organization. They are probably coming to you all the time with, I need a customer for this analyst report. I need one for a press release. I need. But sometimes we may not know what their universe is like, what their world is like, what it's like to work with crazy reporters. Sorry. And so become partners with your PR organization and set realistic expectations for them about how hard it is to get customers to agree to press releases or to engage in media, and help them understand that the talk track, what to say to customers to get them to engage with you, and how to talk about the value that this kind of engagement can bring them, but also take the time to understand what their challenges are, what's being demanded of them by the C-suite, right? What are they being held accountable for, and understand how you can support them, and how you can support each other. I'll tell you a story that someone shared with me once, not long ago, and the story went like this. Jeannie, my PR people in my company, they asked me to get a customer for this media interview, and I got that customer for the media interview, and they did it, and the reporter left him out of the story, and that is unacceptable, and I can't believe it, and I told them blah, blah, blah. So put the dots in there. I see lots of smiles. Who knows go ahead, Lauren. What are you going to say?
Basically, we will thank them profusely for their time, but that's just kind of how it rolls in journalism. Stuff gets cut out.
That's right. And so it's important for customer marketers to know that, right? But here's what I said to that person. We have a responsibility to prep that customer properly. That yes, there's a media opportunity, and we would love to have you participate, and we need to prep them, for the key messages to talk about, what the story's about, all of that. But we should also make sure that we tell them that this could happen, right? So understanding the PR universe and being able to talk that talk a little bit, to speak PR, really will serve you well. So I wanted to share that example, not to call out that person, but as an example to say something to think about and things you can learn from the PR, your own PR team, to make you even smarter and a better partner when it comes to working with your customers' PR organization. Let me pause there for a second. Has anybody else had experiences like that?
Yeah, I definitely have, especially at Teradata. And the other thing that we found is making sure, like a lot of times the customer would agree to do the media interview, and then after we would realize they didn't actually seek approval. And so that would cause, friction. So make sure up front they seek approval first, and saying this may not be used, but it may be used. And they, often won't have a chance to review what's the final article. Some
Good
cases
one.
they will, some cases they won't, but making sure.
Ask that of your PR PR team. Will they allow review? Some reporters will allow review of the quote, the verbatim quote. That I've seen that happen. And some also say, nope, you're rolling the dice, right? Yeah. So my second tip in that regard is, before there is ever a media opportunity that your PR team comes to you with, pick a handful of customers that you meet with and talk to, their PR organizations, before you ever have a media opportunity to bring to them. So to Maria's point, right? Here you have an opportunity. It's a deadline. Your champion, your advocate is saying, yeah, I can do that, but they really can't. So now you've got kind of a mess, right? You've got this hairball of a problem. And one thing you can do is maybe pick 3 accounts, 3 customers that you have a good relationship with already, with your champion, and ask for an introduction to their PR person. And then the conversation kind of goes like this. Hey, I'm Jeanne from Motive, and I know our technology is used at your company pretty extensively for XYZ reason. And we can support each other. And I'd love to understand what your business objectives are, what messages you're trying to put out into the marketplace, because our PR team might be able to bring forward some media opportunities for you. Would you be open to that? And all of a sudden they're recognizing, some people might shut you down right away, right? But some might say, oh, interesting. You're going to help me double down on media engagement. You might be able to get me into publications I can't get to. You have relationships with reporters that I don't have. Yes. So try to build those relationships with customer PR people before you're on a deadline and need something from them. I'll give you an example of how this worked with Fidelity. So I got an introduction to one of the lead PR people at Fidelity and had a conversation with her and asked her, what is the biggest business challenge that Fidelity has in the tech space? And I thought she was going to say cloud transformation or, COVID or, at the time. No, it was recruiting tech talent. That was their number one business challenge. And my eyes kind of popped out of my head because we can help with that, right? We have conferences they can speak at. We can get them to media that talk about that, where engineering talent is attentive and present and looking, right? And so we built a whole mini marketing plan for Fidelity based on that business objective. And what did that end up looking like? It ended up looking like their CIO doing media opportunities with us. Our sales team had never been at that level in that account. He spoke at the CIO spoke at our customer event and our sales kickoff. And the revenue in that account went like this. It was a hockey stick. Was it because of what I did? No. Did it help a little? I think so. So that's an example of how partnering with PR people and supporting their business objectives can really serve you well. I know, wouldn't it be nice if sometimes we were on commission, right?
Mhm.
You know, that's a side conversation, but we're talking at Motive about how do we put these things in Marketo, right, as campaigns so that they do count. You know, we just did some of these these videos on you know, on the road, and I just happened to be looking in some of the accounts, and 3 out of 5 of them have new opportunities in the funnel, like that align in timing. Like, wow, like, yeah, we should take credit for some of that. Has anyone had experiences with customer PR organizations, good or bad, that they want to share?
Jeanne, can I ask you something about your last question? You're talking about tracking. So are you tracking those, like, I mean, I know you're new there in building the organization, but are you guys tracking your media activities and like a formal reference system yet, or do you not have that?
We don't have it yet. We just signed, we're just in the sand. We just deployed Reference Edge in our sandbox.
Oh, okay.
This will be my triple boomerang with Reference Edge. And we'll deploy that and launch that internally in October. So yes, we will eventually, but not today. Candidly, I don't even have a good spreadsheet. You know,
You can't use the boomerang term. You can't
that?
use the boomerang term.
Copyrighted.
You can't use boomerang for reference edge. That's not cool.
Okay, I did see your cool boomerang. That's fair.
I'm joking with you.
I use
I was
hairball.
just gonna say, are you gonna take on all of Australia to like claim boomerang as well?
I don't see you shipping out boomerangs.
All right,
there,
so
bud.
I'll call it a hat. I'll call it a hat trick. It's a hat trick because it's the third one, the third time. And
I love
hopefully I'll
hat
get it
tricks.
right.
That's good.
So that's a sort of another example of how you can try to partner with your customer PR organizations. Maybe pick 1 or 2, right? Get with your CSM and say, hey, want to help me figure out who this person is? Can you make an introduction? And let's see how that works. Maybe you're on a trip to a place where one of your customers is, and you're like, hey, maybe take them out for coffee, take them out for lunch and have a conversation. See how that goes. The other thing that I just started at Motive is I stumbled on the fact that our CorpCom team actually has a stated policy against doing this kind of work with any of our tech partners. And I was like, really? Like, oh, let's have a conversation about that. So you believe that you need our customers for your PR strategy, but you don't think they do? You don't think that you expected me to sell that to them, but you don't even believe it. So that was a really fun conversation with our CMO. Brought the CMO in and said, let's talk about this. Let's talk about this. We got to walk the talk. I mean, walk the walk, right? How are we going to change this policy to, instead of defaulting no, we're going to default yes, unless certain criteria don't align. We're not going to, engage in co-marketing for the linen company that throws our parties, right? But what are the top 10 tech providers, strategic partners with us in the business? Let's default yes to those 10, right? Let's actually proactively go to them and say, we want to do this stuff with you. Why not? Why not? So that's something check out your company. Does your company have a default no policy in your contracts? Find out from your tech team. We call it ESIS. Do you want to do some of this stuff? Because it is strategic. It is driving our business. It is fundamentally supporting the company. It is going to strengthen our brand awareness, right? So that's something I just stumbled on. Has anybody else tackled that kind of thing in your company? Shelley, I saw you, I saw you smiling.
I don't know. I've never looked into that here at Ignite, so I don't know what our policy is. That's kind of interesting though, and I appreciate that you went after that.
Yeah, when I stumbled on it, I was like, wait a minute. And so I said to her, oh, so the next time you ask me for a media reference, and I tell you I can't deliver on it in 24 hours. What do you think about that? Oh, tough conversation there. Tough conversation there.
Recently got to work with my first PR team, and they were just so lovely. I just loved them so much. And we had a CMO at the time that was like, press releases for everything we do. I was like, okay. So I don't know the strategy behind it or anything like that, but yeah, I mean, I had such a blast with them, and they were like getting me speaking opportunities, and I was kind of, they were submitting me for awards that cost like $500, and I don't think anybody knew about that, but I'm gone now, so see ya.
Yes, so at Teria, this is not apples to apples, Jeannie, but at Teria, we worked with the CRO to really coach the salespeople on, there has to be in all new sales contracts a publicity clause saying, this will be a reference customer, yes or no. We will do a press release or media. I think the other one was a cab. And we would find that like 95% of the salespeople would take that out because they didn't want to deal with it. And then we got it really in place probably 5 years before I left for Teradata. And it was strong because it'd be a funnel into our team, the PR team.
Yes.
And we tried to implement that at BMC. My old CMO came on to be my new CMO. And I still had everything. And he's like, oh yeah, this is brilliant. And it was like, they couldn't get it. Like sales were like, no, this is never going to work. They couldn't change their mindset. Still trying to do it, but everything there is very processed. So there's a date they could actually like, this is the date we may consider it. And this is the date we, it's like, you have to move to really, be proactive. And like Leslie, I'm no longer there, so it doesn't matter.
I just looked at how many we're going up market to enterprise. So we have certain lighthouse accounts, right? So did an analysis of how of those legal contracts, every single one of them there was 100 and some odd, to see which publicity clauses prohibit, silent, all of that. And we had 24% logo permissions across our enterprise accounts and rogue usage of those logos, right?
Yeah.
So very similar. Went to the CRO and said, this is the reality. I need you to help me change this. So we've changed the publicity language. We've built tiers or modules, if you will. So you can kind of pick and choose which pieces you might want to put in the contract. And then we're building the muscle and training the sales team on when they're going to redline it. Every single enterprise customer is going to redline it. And so when you give a concession, it goes back on the table. And so we're starting to build that muscle. And the VP of enterprise sales has now said for a prospect, then customer, to take the publicity terms out of the contract, it requires his approval, which I couldn't believe he committed to that, and he's actually doing it. So that's a great example, Maria.
Okay, I'm sorry, you may have specified this at the beginning. Does PR report to you now, or are they a peer of yours at Motive?
They're actually a peer to my boss now.
Okay, and do you own getting like logo approvals, or do they own that? Because I know that's gone back and forth with every company I've worked with. Like PR owns it at one time, then customer advocacy owns it, and
yeah. I say that it's co-owned by me and sales, right?
Yeah, that's a good way to position. I mean, everyone should own it. Like be proactive and understanding of it helps everybody at the company.
Yeah. And then at renewal time, that's the best time to get an amendment, to the contracts, or we're actually looking right now at those lighthouse accounts. There's about 13 of them that we're actually going to have the CMO or the CEO, we haven't chosen yet, that they're going to go back and ask for the amendment now, even though the renewal's not for another 2 years.
Yeah, that's smart.
Those logos are that important to us.
Yeah.
FedEx, Carvana, Halliburton, they're just too important. So
we found that the smaller the ask, we could get more approvals than if we left because they do redline, right? Every single one of them redlines that paragraph, that clause out of the contract. But when I went back after and said, these are the kinds of things that we do, are you really interested in doing any of them? All of a sudden it was like, yeah, let me check into that. And I said, well, here, let me give you the background. And so I have people lined up to be customer of the month. I have absolutely zero interest in case studies.
Mm-hmm. It's a
and
great
references.
way to talk about it.
Right.
Customer of the month. Yeah. Excuse me. I'll
so
share
that-
that
oh, so
language
sorry,
if that
Jeanne.
would be helpful. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
I was going to say, to build off Christine, so we actually are just in the process of revamping our language. So it's in our default contract right now, but we realized that it is too onerous on both our side. So it kind of locks us into doing something that we don't necessarily want to do for every customer.
That's right.
It is explicit. It says they will be a case study or a PR thing. I'm like, not every story is worthy of that much time and effort.
No.
And so we're revamping it to be like, you will be a reference. Here are some examples of what that could be. So we're trying to be as explicit as possible to showcase to the customer and to give us some leeway. Because the amount of times, and I'm sure we've all done this, the amount of times that sales has done this, and you have to now tell a case study for a story that we can just agree is complete shit, but you do it because you want to keep the customer happy, is not inconsequential.
Yeah. I just shared the
We
link.
found that tiering other things too, like it doesn't have to be those two things. It could be speaking engagements, it could be references, it could be just sitting in and talking about their program at a virtual meetup or something. And what I'm finding is those types of interactions are easier to get. And then by the time we build that, it's easier to get the others once I've built that relationship to do the smaller ones.
Absolutely.
Yeah, for sure. And then the follow-up that I had is one of the first things I did when I started at Grafana was, because we have a SaaS service, like a purely self-serve service that you can just put a credit card in, our general terms and conditions that anybody who has to like sign when you put in a credit card gives us the ability to reference them as a customer. Now, if I'm going to do anything more than just list their logo, I will go to them and like we'll get more information. But if you sign up and you use Grafana Cloud, that means I can put your logo on our page. So it's just a really like low-hanging fruit of people that have to, check a box.
Yeah, absolutely. I put the language that we're testing out in the chat. If anyone wants to borrow that, give me feedback on it. We're testing it now. It's just gone in probably a couple weeks ago into our new enterprise language. We're really focused on upmarket now. And so, trying to focus on, just that particular segment. And first of anything, so we're breaking into Mexico. We're primarily US and Canada. So the first in agriculture, the first in Mexico, the first whatever. Those are the ones that you got to get the first one to sell the next one. I'm probably behind in looking at the chats, but so those were just 3 or 4 little things I wanted to share that have worked for me in this kind of in that kind of universe, and I hope it was a little helpful.
Yeah, this is super helpful. Thank you, Jeannie.
All righty. Does anybody else have a topic that they want to discuss today?
I'll throw out that I just bought Shout Out, and it's like Vouch, and it's like some other things. It happens to have incredible branding capabilities to get your tool to be in brand, and we just posted a link in our driver application for our 10th anniversary. I'm just testing it with something really low and easy, and within 2 hours we had over 200 drivers do a like a shout out for us, a little video clip about how awesome we are. 2 hours, 200. Couldn't believe it. They're so fun. They're so fun. Yeah, they're so fun. I can't wait to put them on social, and some of them are freaking hilarious. So I want to put some of those out too. But so if you haven't looked at Shout Out, I know there's some other great tools. But there are 2 reasons I chose that one. One is the unbelievable branding capabilities that you can customize in there. And then the second is multi-trim capability. In the other tools I looked at, you can only trim on the ends. You can't trim in the middle. And this one you can trim in the middle, which was really big for me. So happy to share that. If anyone wants to check it out, I can show you.
Yeah, so I just recently signed with Testimonial Hero to what?
Nice.
Oh, hi. Yeah, no, signed to do content creation with them. So not getting on board with them or anything, but and the reason that they were interested in a content creator is because they are launching their version of Vouch and Shout Out, and it's going to be on beta. And so I'm going to pass out all the links to you guys so you guys can use it for free and see how to make it.
So does that mean that they're going to be competing with Laudable in that space then?
I mean, does Laudable have a self, when you hit the thing to video yourself, like a Vouch?
I can't remember.
I don't think they do. I think Laudable does the edits videos, right? That they do, they do the interviews or something and then they edit it together.
Yeah, it's more like nuggetizing a longer interview into other content. Okay.
Yeah, I think they're also moving into the case study AI space too, and doing quite a bit. So
yeah,
it's different.
In my newsletter tomorrow, I'm promoting Laudable as well.
So I'll say that Vouch, we did 70 videos on Vouch from CMOs and high ranking people. And it did well enough that a bunch of them are now becoming Vouch customers. But the coolest thing that they're launching now, and they're using us as their first kind of tests with it, with this is I didn't have time to go back and edit it all, and whether it cuts in the middle or cuts at the end. And you can always make that work. That's not the issue. The issue is like having the time to go make cuts and edit. And so their AI now, you just put in a prompt and it finds, you can say, I want each person in this list to have at least 5 seconds. I want each person to answer this question, and I want the total video to be no more than 2 minutes. And we just did that, and I couldn't believe it was better than my own video editor gave me back. So it's
Amazing.
pretty impressive. Yeah.
That's super cool.
Yeah. And I know Shout Out will be close behind on that because Dan's always on it. So they're both wonderful groups. They're both amazing things. You get relatively the same thing from both of them. I love that that's out there. I wish we've had this earlier in our career. It would have made life so much easier.
Oh, for sure. For sure.
Is the AI piece on the free version? Ari.
I would highly doubt that, but
They have a
I
free
would
version?
doubt that they would provide that for free. Oh yeah, Vouch as a premium
Yep.
model. You can get a
Oh,
lot
right,
out of it.
right. I did. I tested it. I knew that.
Is anybody going to customer XCon? I can't say that seriously. XCon.
I know it sounds like prisoners, right? I'm just gonna say that it sounds like confidence, but okay.
Oh my God. I never thought about that. I'm not going to unhear that now.
Me either. I hadn't either, Lauren.
Wait, a printer? What's a printer? What?
It's like we all used to be in prison. Now we're marketers. Do not let this get out anywhere. 'Cause I'm on the planning committee, and I do belong. I do believe very strongly in this conference. But the name, that is what I think of when I think of con. So
Who all's going again?
Me.
I'll be there.
When is it? When is it?
Me
it
too.
is October 17th and 18th, which is
I'd
also
have
my
to
birthday.
I'd have to self-pay again.
In Boston. Well,
Yeah.
everyone has to pay for XCon. He doesn't give free tickets, not even to speakers.
No, they give free
but,
tickets to some people like who are job searching and stuff.
Oh yeah. And they have a, that's right. They're even doing a sponsorship this year for people who are searching for jobs. For sure. It's the best conference of the year to me. It's the one that it's the biggest one, all of them. But I'll also be in San Francisco for the CMA one that's in September because I'm hosting that. So I'll be at both. I'm
Can you
excited
give me
for
a
both.
free ticket
To which one?
to the September one in San Francisco?
You missed the giveaway. If you would have done it, you would have been in.
You were giving away one ticket?
That would have been yours.
The golden ticket.
It would have been
Golden
mine? What are you talking
Would
about?
have been Leslie's golden ticket.
No, that's
Lame. No.
Yeah, you not engaging is lame. You're right. Thank you for pointing that out.
Yeah.
He did post it on LinkedIn for like 3 days in a row.
Uh-huh.
She knows. She saw it. She knew.
I
She
saw it.
referenced.
Mary.
I meant like doing one free ticket. Like, come on. There's a lot of people out there that could really use it. Bring them. Have them do some promotions. That type of thing.
Get on the West Coast for a while. Any place that is not Florida. Give me an excuse to get out of Florida. I will always take that excuse.
All their speakers go for free and all of their speakers get a +1. So if you're looking to try and get a free ticket, you could reach out to the speakers.
Okay, well, I'll be your +1.
For what? For which conference?
That was my giveaway, Leslie.
CMA.
CMA.
Get another one.
For CMA? Or
The Alliance.
oh, okay.
Yeah, it's in September. So it's between this and Customer XCon. And it's really like I was just trying to target mostly people who are in the Bay Area because no one wants to pay to fly.
Right.
So just people who are local who could attend.
You're doing one in New York too, right? In December?
Usually, yeah, I think so.
That's the one I'm trying to get my my boss to pay for, but I don't know that he's going to let me because I have to go to New York in October to do a couple of speaking things.
I'm an ambassador for the community-led alliance, and so I'm hoping that they'll get me at least some kind of discount for the New York one. Because I really wanted to go last year, but I was having surgery at the time. So I'm hoping this year I
There,
can.
I mean, it's probably not enough for anyone who wants to go for cheap, but they are giving me a 25% off discount code if anyone's interested, but I know that's probably not enough for you.
There's a community-led alliance now. So they have product marketing, customer marketing, and community.
There's one that they rolled out recently too, was like RevOps Alliance.
Oh boy.
Oh, yeah, they've had that for a while. They have, I think, 10 to 13 alliances now.
Yeah,
They have a customer
there's a
success
lot.
alliance, CMO alliance. They have a lot of them.
Yeah.
Are they at least good at getting leads for the sponsors?
Awkward.
No? Is that not an
Um,
okay question to ask?
I don't know.
Okay.
No, I would say yes and no. I'd say they get more leads than anybody else by far, like by a magnitude of 10 than anybody else, any other conference. Are they the best leads? Are they high quality leads? Are they all of that? That's, comes with a lot of scrutiny depending on who you are and what numbers you're trying to prove.
Yeah.
But what they're trying to do at the base of it, we're trying to help them and support them. And where they missed the mark is they took their approach to the product marketing alliance, which is a very different persona than us. And they tried to duplicate that and scale that with the customer marketing community. And at first that just meant spam. And we are all about quality over quantity because we all deal with customers and we know we don't like to overtouch our customers. And it was the number one feedback that was pushing back. In fact, I think Daniel Pele said it on this call, which someone said it beautifully. They said, I feel like this is more of a product than a community. Like I'm being sold a product, not the community. And that was the number one feedback I got and gave to them. And then I actually started a customer advisory board for them with a lot of heavy hitters to really help guide them on what they're doing so that I'm not just the squeaky wheel all the time. So that's kind of the journey that we've been on with them.
Yeah, I'm on the Community Alliance cab, and they need a lot of support and work. It's so piecemeal. They've gone through, I think, like 5 community managers in the last four community managers in the last like 4 months, 5 months. It's very discombobulated over there.
Are you talking about CMA? I might have missed. Sorry. Which one?
All of the alliance, yeah. So like all of their different, you know what I would call, they have like a swarm mentality. So whatever's working, they kind of swarm on that and they all go for that. And then when that starts to drop, they swarm on the next thing. And so, it's one, allow them to scale really fast, but 2, they burn a lot of bridges or they burn out a lot of areas in the process. And that's kind of the nature of the beast of the way that they design their business model. So we've been trying.
Didn't mean to interrupt.
No, go ahead.
I was wondering, so what happened? So PMA has been around, I think, the longest, and they're the ones who have the conferences. But it seems like with the last few PMA conferences, there's been a pretty strong like customer marketing and customer experience track as part of that. So what happens now that they're branching out into all of these other, like here's here's our community group, and then here's our customer marketing group? Like, are they concerned that that's going to cannibalize from the PMA events, or are they looking to get those events across those other groups, or what?
The customer marketing, the CMA has been around for about 1.5 years. The PMA has been around for about 3 years. That was their golden child. That's what they started with. And with each one that they scale, so they have different events in different cities at different times. Like for instance, there was no San Francisco Customer Marketing Alliance event last year. This is the first year they're doing it, but there was the product marketing there, Revenue Alliance was there, and one other one was there last year. It's their largest of all of the events, but they hold events all over. And depending on where their cohorts of people mostly are, right, that's where they hold them, except for Vegas, which they just do, I think, because they want to be in Vegas, which is, the hardest of all of them to fill. But this year there was about 75 people who showed up for the Vegas one, and the content was unbelievable. It was phenomenal content from, all of our peers and colleagues. But not only was the content amazing, it was actually too much. And I told them, that I was trying to get them to adopt, and we'll see if they do any of this in San Francisco, but a new way, which is a couple less speakers, and between each speaker have 10 minutes where the table can round table on what that speaker just talked about, to digest it before you go into the next. Because this year there was so much content by the end. Yeah. Like imagine if you just had 10 to 15 minutes, you don't leave the room, it's not a bathroom break, but you just like take time to digest with your table. So one, it helps you network with your table, people you don't know. And two, it allows you to catch up and really process all of that information you just got, pitched. Because one thing I noticed by the end of this last event in Vegas was people were turned off by the end, not because they didn't like the content, but just our brains were completely saturated. We didn't have any more room for all of this new great stuff. And so I was trying to think of a way, and Rob Maddox actually gave me this idea. So I've been trying to get them to adopt it, and we'll see. I think they're going to test it a little bit in San Francisco, and then if it works well, maybe adopt it at a larger scale, but they'll test it in a couple syncs during that, after a couple of the sessions. But I mean, the good thing about their conferences is they get phenomenal people to speak. They get real talent, right? So everything else, all of their own practices, that's not what the value add is to me. The value add is like, what am I getting out of this? And it's good shit, but it's expensive. It's San Francisco prices, right? So that's why I was doing the giveaway. That's why I just told everyone, reach out to the speakers and see if you can get their +1, and potentially a discount. And by the way, we in Fluitive are not sponsoring San Francisco. They just asked me to MC it outside of that, like not as a sponsor, just because of the results from Vegas. So we are not actually officially sponsoring this one. We are not paying for any portion of it. We're not getting any leads from it. We're not a part of it.
No. I meant like they're paying you to MC it.
No, I'm doing it for free, but
See, that's what I don't like about these people.
I'm doing it for free, but that's because they normally, the MC is normally a paid sponsorship. So, we did sponsor Vegas, and we are sponsoring New York. We pulled out on San Francisco, and we pulled out on actually we might have pulled out on New York. I think we pulled out on New York. We are sponsoring the next digital one. And then I'm trying to get them to pay me to update their core curriculum. We'll see if they do that or not, if they pay me anything. I don't know. We'll see. They pay.
Well, I think now is a good time to, perfect segue into telling you guys a little bit about what me and Mary are partnering on. So we are going to be CMA Alliance competitor. So we are starting a community. And so, it's going to be like login, member. We are still going to keep the free version of Slack, but there will be kind of an upgraded model. We'll have kind of like our 40 to 50 founding members that will get like, discounted pricing. And then, did Ari just drop?
He did.
What?
Uh-huh. Yeah, it looked like he did. Maybe he had to hop off or something.
I don't think so. It's 10:50. He doesn't have a call.
Okay, let's just.
Also, for the record, he was on his phone and he started cutting out right as he was talking. So
yeah,
I'm gonna be willing to bet that he just went into a dead zone.
He's here.
Okay.
He's in the waiting room.
And he's back. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, it's good because we just stopped talking as soon as Ari dropped off. So now I can continue. Yeah, so there'll be, like 40 ish members, the founding members, that will get discounted pricing, and we'll have a bunch of different levels. And of course, if you pay, yearly, you'll get a couple months for free, but it's going to be pretty great, and lots and lots and lots and lots of content. I'll say that Mary, is bringing the heat here with all of the resources and everything that you guys get access to in this, in such a digestible way inside of the community. So like our goal is that you're thinking about anything that you need answers to or want to build or just anything, and you go inside of our community and you find it with, you can build it, measure it, have everything right at your fingertips. And like I said, we will be keeping Slack open, so you can ask those questions there as well. But this way you'll have, program briefs and anything that you want to clone and all that stuff. So we'll be launching that August 23rd, which we're so excited about.
Yay!
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And it's not going to be super expensive.
No, yeah.
Like that. I think we're starting at $17 a month to just I've myself had a lot of people reach out and be like, how can we support the community? And I've struggled with trying to charge for something that I've done for free for a while. With Leslie's opening in time, it just seemed like a really good opportunity to work together on something and bring a lot of that information together. It's going to be from past calls that we've had and stuff, but I think a lot of it is going to be just around having that curation to make it as easily accessible as possible. So that if you want to see what the great quotes were from the call where we had some debate on whether or not you should be beholden to numbers or things like that, you'll be able to see that. And I'm still figuring out how to manage the having people in the community asking people to pay for it and having had them be on these calls and contribute in some way. So any feedback you want to send to us on that is great. But yeah, as always with anything that I work on for a community, it's very community-led community. So tell me what you think. Tell me what you want to see more of. We're going to do a lot more of events, masterminds every month from different experts in the customer field and strategy sessions. So if there's a topic that you want to talk about, there's going to be monthly calls for all the different topics. And if we have, more than 20 people register, I'll break it up into another call so that we have small, tight-knit groups that will get on and share and talk about these topics. One of them is going to be CMA 101 for people that are newer to CMA to really help them kind of come together and find each other. We'll be incorporating the mentorship program that I started talking about back in June that over 250 people from just CMAweekly Slack want to be a part of. So that's huge. And over half of those people want to both be a mentor and be a mentee. So it's been a
Oop, she cut out. Murray?
Sorry about dropping off in the middle of talking to my car. Obviously, the reception.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, so there's a new sheriff in town as far as cracking down on vendors and sponsorships. So I'll be in charge of that, AKA money. We don't want to create some selling community where you're just getting pitch slapped. So I'll be kind of cracking down on valuable content only. If you want, to have it be an educational post, then you can, but like, we're not going to be promoting anybody's platforms unless they're a paid sponsor, and in which we will take care of the campaigns and what gets to you all, as opposed to it just being forced down your throat. So I think it's gonna be very organized in exactly what you want. And Mary and I are, we know exactly what we want in a community, because that's, what we do and what we are. And so we think that we'll nail it. I'm gonna have a launch party, I think August 21st. So I'll get you guys the link, so you guys will be the first to see it, and we'll unveil the name. And then there's going to be a fun video on LinkedIn with a drag queen. Stay tuned for that.
I have a question.
Having fun.
And I may have misunderstood, but I think you said, Leslie, we're going to build content from a bunch of these sessions that have already happened. Did I hear that correctly?
There's some of that. But we have so much content that we have accumulated over the past year and a half. And so, and stuff that we have even put in time into and made up for this potential.
That's right. The reason I asked the question is, I haven't really spoken on this. Is, I think, my first time, maybe second, but I would encourage you to make sure you're getting permission from those speakers. And maybe in the future, if you have speakers, you get their agreement for that, to repackage it if it was their content that they were bringing forward.
Yeah, we had a discussion about that, me and Mary, and I default to, we always have to ask for permission. And we got permission to record when they were on the call. So yeah, but we're definitely gonna let them know that it's going up there if we do take any clips from people chatting. Because for example, God, what's his name? Kevin guy from Marketo. He went deep into his course on one of our calls on Friday. So I wouldn't want to put that out there, without letting him know or letting him approve what he could say about a paid course. So anyway, yeah, any other questions? We're very excited. Cool. Oh my God, I have to go pick up my kid. All right. Love you guys. See you on the newsletter tomorrow, and see you in 2 weeks.
Bye, everyone. Have a wonderful weekend.
You too.